Well, hello there. We are now live for the watch party of the final day of the Convening Conference of the Global Methodist Church in San Jose, Costa Rica. It has been a most blessed, most glorious time together with me and TJ in the studio. Say hey to everybody. TJ.
Good morning, everyone.
TJ is again pleasing the crowds by not wearing a hat.
Now I'm self-conscious about it.
Y'all just pick on TJ about everything, and he'll be so self-conscious today. It'll be a lot of fun.
Wouldn't go with my outfit. I feel like this is
I feel like that's nice. Yeah.
Have hat would throw it off. It's t-shirt, hat, fine.
Very good.
But also Becca's actually gonna cut my hair today. So
Becca is his wife, and she's going to cut his hair. Going to get racing stripes on the sides.
I don't know about that. Looks like they're starting the video with their safety intro.
I can't hear anything. Can you?
I cannot. No.
Here's the safety video, y'all.
It's the same one they play every morning. Like,
Yeah.
Here are the exits.
They actually did not live stream worship this morning. I heard the audio for a bit, and then the audio cut off. So I don't know what that decision was. I've been, so I put out my report last night at like 9:30. Sorry it was so late. And I tried to live stream it first, and then it cut off. Oh, there's the audio. I tried to live stream it, and then the live stream cut off like 10 minutes in, so I deleted it, and then I just recorded
I
the whole
saw that.
thing.
I was like,
You did see that.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
see it. I didn't start the live stream. I was going to go back and watch it later and see which clips of mine you use, because that's what I do sometimes.
Yeah.
And then
You gave me some clips that are like a minute and a half long. I can't do
you're
that.
more worried about it than I am, I guess.
Well, we still got a copyright violation. From
Their
whoever.
music?
Yeah, the music. They thought the doxology was a song from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" I'll fly away.
Wow.
So, anyway, I started my morning this morning at 4 a.m. with a copyright dispute.
Yeah.
But it wasn't against the GMC, so I'm happy. All right, we got Sterling Allen up front this morning. Jennifer says I'm not up on locals, so I'm going to make sure that I got that right. Today's the last day, and they're saying a prayer for the last day. Oh, I just didn't turn it on Locals and Rumble. I forgot a step. Okay, so now we should be up on Locals and Rumble. Thanks for Jennifer letting me know. Good morning, Brother Daniel. What did they say what they're performing?
No, he just said there's something special, and I'm trying to. It doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, and I forgot to bring my hymnal into the studio with me this morning. I took it home, and Sarah Beth was interested in looking through it.
Ooh, I know this song, but I don't know the name of it. I feel like it's not a very old one.
I feel like I've heard it before.
It feels like a 90s song.
So I heard, so I started the morning with a copyright strike. And then I had a guy write me and say, hey, man, when they got up yesterday and they were talking about removing oversight from the communications position, I wanted to get up and talk about it, and I regret that I didn't make it happen. And I hadn't heard anything about this. We watched most of the live stream yesterday.
Yesterday I feel
I
like
had
it's
no
the most
idea
I
that they talked about this we noted, I don't know, 4 days ago that they removed the
They were-
communications council.
Yeah, they were
from
talking
something.
about not even having that connectional council.
Yeah, and that it turns out what that's about is not removing the communications department. We didn't really think that was going to happen. My concern was that they were making that position less accountable to oversight, and it turns out that's exactly what they were doing. And so I'm anxious about that. It's gonna continue to operate the way that it has, where that position responds only to the chief operations officer, who is now.
You showed we literally Keith prayed over him last night.
Yeah. Anyway, him and the connectional council. So hopefully, hopefully it's no big deal. If that's the worst thing that happens.
So I guess who would you prefer to see oversight from? Because I guess if I was in that position, I wouldn't. I'd do the same thing. I wouldn't want a bunch of bosses. It would be easier if I just had one person to go to.
Well, to see them as a bunch of bosses is just wrong. Like, okay, so the way that they're currently conceiving of it is we need this bottleneck person who decides what information is released and how and who you have access to. And I think that is like fundamentally wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that position should be, here's how we're going to resource the facilitation of information to everyone who wants to know it. And yeah, we need to correct some stuff that went out wrong. And then their oversight should be, here's how we can make your job easier. Here's how we can help you do your job better. It's not bosses, it's facilitators. So, but as it is right now, they've just got that one position, and then they're putting all this stuff on that one position. So like, I was talking with a person this morning who said the current person filling that position is Diane Burnett. She's worked her tail off for the last couple of weeks, hardly sleeping, working through the night, doing all this stuff. And to my mind, that's bad. Like, I don't want anyone breaking their back for this. I just want them sharing the load reasonably with other capable people. And that's what an oversight board can help do. But if it's just them on their own doing things, reporting to one person and one board, I'm just pessimistic about it going well. I think what's going to happen is information is going to bottleneck at that one point and be slowed way down because one person cannot process very much.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure I'd feel different if I was in that position. I guess I would just see it as okay, that's a group that's ultimately accountable to the chief connectional officer, and then just all of these other. If information from the boards need to go out, they just send it to her, and then she just distributes it. Like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of like, okay, I've got to sit down and I've got to figure out. We got to post. I hate whenever I was at Victory, I would volunteer there, and they're not necessarily the media department, but kind of in there. But they would have a bunch of like just social media people that just like all day, every day, like, okay, we've got to put 5 posts out. We've got to do this, 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 and this. And it doesn't matter if they're good or not, as long as something's out there. And I'm like, no, like, and the lady that ran it was very controlling and like just on everybody's back, like constantly, like, we need this, give me this. Like, didn't matter what time of day it was, didn't matter anything like that. She's like, okay, we've got this threshold we've got to meet. Just got to get stuff out. We've got to basically justify our jobs here. Make sure you're putting stuff out. Doesn't matter if it's garbage. Just make sure there's something out there for somebody to click like on. And I'm like, no, that's awful. Sounds terrible.
So connect that with what I was just talking about.
Well, so if she's if all of these other groups are over her and they say we've got to post all of this stuff, we got to post like I don't know, whatever for this connectional council and whatever for this connectional council, like just send it to her and eventually she'll get it out. Like I don't know. Maybe
that'd be
not
terrible.
Connected at all.
But if they're saying, okay, we have this professional person who can be the central coordinator, how can we help her do her job? That's what I'm imagining would be ideal.
So a board that's over her that just tells her how she should do her job.
It'd be more like, okay, yeah, you're one person, you can't do all the things. You tell us what direction you're going. You tell us what needs to happen, and we'll help you. And then
just give me a staff.
Well, I think she will have a staff. But in the meantime, a board...
Like, define my job, and then I'll go from there. Like, does it continuously need to be redefined by the board?
No, it wouldn't be defining the job. It'd be facilitating the job. I feel like I'm saying the same words over and again, and you're
I
going a
guess
different
I'm not-
direction.
Yeah, I'm not understanding your.
You don't understand facilitation.
I understand what the term means, yes, but I don't understand how what it sounds like you're saying is they need to basically. I'm taking it as redefine her job constantly. Like,
Yeah, I know you're taking it that way, but that's not facilitation. Facilitation isn't redefining a job.
No, but
Facilitation
that's what it
is
sounds like that
you
you're
tell
trying
us
to
where your
say.
roadblocks are. You tell us where the struggles are. You tell us the direction you want to grow. We can do some research for you. We can.
Give me an example of how you're.
Well, hypothetically, they're only live streaming on YouTube, which hits a certain market, but they're not live streaming on Facebook, I don't think. And then Vimeo is another one. Like, hypothetically, they're focusing only in one place, and I would assume that's because it's hard to figure out all these different platforms. There's certain man hours required for figuring all this out. So if you put it to a board saying, hey, we want to make ourselves available to this whole other audience on this other platform, but I don't have the time to figure it out, then you have a board that puts feelers out.
Just give me staff to figure it out.
Well, and they give me that too. Like, okay, I've got staff and we need to go this direction, but I'm not sure exactly how to pivot, you know. But then also, I mean, it's a two-way street. So, like, here's what I'm needing. And what do I do if my staff doesn't know how to do that? Or, like, there's this whole other sector I need to go into that I don't know how to do. You know, there's YouTube and stuff. But also...
a board of part-time people that are probably just clergy and probably don't even know themselves are going to tell me how to do it?
I think it's wrong to assume that you would get incapable people on that board when you have a whole denomination of people to call on.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right, they got done worshiping just now. Not yet, Ben. Someday. So my understanding is they're anticipating doing a full day of work today. They had originally hoped to break at noon, but I was sent a message by a couple of people that they were planning on going all day today.
They intentionally didn't do it last night, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe they've got more done than they thought they did."
I assume they were just really tired.
I mean, they got a bunch of stuff to do. They got consecrations to do today.
Jennifer, I'm not sure I knew you worked for your church. Man, they're blessed to have you. You're a very diligent person. Oh, there's a new mission statement in the Daily Journal, says Jennifer. We got Jones and Webb sitting up front again. All right, I see this new mission of the church by... Wait, what?
This is a Constitution's
I think this is just
petition.
David Watson's petition.
Yeah, 47.
So they didn't, yeah. So they just got done with an Episcopal sermon, apparently. It was like 30 seconds long.
Yeah, I think that was a joke because they've got so much stuff to do.
Oh, what Jennifer was noting is even though David Watson hated the adverbs and intentionally crafted his petition to not have those adverbs, they added the adverbs back.
Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
That's like when they took my petition to make conferences vote on candidates individually and then made it so that annual conferences can vote not to do it
by a slate,
individually.
yeah.
Like it inverted the whole thing.
Right. Like, oh, they can do it individually, but they can also do it by block. And then had petitions named
And kept it called, still kept it called ending block voting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'd be real insulted if I intentionally created a petition that got rid of the corporate wording that they got for a mission statement, and then they just like, oh, you know what? We love corporate wording. Let's
you have good
shove
theology
it
in that, but here's the corporate wording again. Yeah. Jennifer Groff has put together our first poll question. How many adverbs are appropriate in a mission statement?
I need that in the form of four multiple choice question with 4 answers.
0, 1, 2, 3, I guess. We've got 3 right now.
Okay.
Tom Lambrecht is making announcements. Doug says, please make sure to use adverbs in the poll question. Oh, they're going to take a group photo. Oh, my gosh. Now would be a good time to do today's prayer if I had it pulled up. Do I have it pulled up? Nope.
That's right. I was thinking about this morning. Jennifer said that I didn't show I didn't make clips of the liturgical dance thing. I completely forgot about that.
I didn't care for that. I know I laughed at it, but all right. So today's scripture is Matthew 28:19 through 20. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. Let us pray. Lord, we are so grateful for your presence during this conference. Thank you for the work you did in each of our lives. We humbly ask that your reassuring presence accompany us as we prepare to leave this place, guiding and protecting us on our journey home. Upon our return, we desire to be your light in our homes and communities. Help us, through the power of your Holy Spirit, to take the gifts we receive and share them with others. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And then they have a prayer for tomorrow as well, so I don't know if we're doing a live stream tomorrow. I kind of doubt it. All right, we got the agenda guy up.
John Howard.
Yeah. That is a pink sports coat.
It is.
What people are standing?
These are the members of the agenda committee he's recognizing.
Okay. Morning, Pat. Everybody go ahead and sign in. We've got at least 25 people with us right now. Let us know who you are, where you're from, if you're GMC. Tell us what church you belong to. Tell us it's a great church. Hopefully everybody's there, but if you do not know where to go, I can't tell you because I don't see that particular thing to click on. Plan of organization for the 2026 General Conference. Well, hey, Mr. Beavers. Welcome, Allison. We're going to have a General Conference commission they'll elect. This is where to go to watch the live stream.
There's no way they're getting done.
Continued elections, is that what he was just listing off? Morning, Brian. Eileen says, hello, I'm a member of Roseland GMC in Sebastian, Florida. Mickey Wheeler, FMC Irving. Got Jimmy Boone back with us this morning. Bob Riley. Good to see you guys. If you guys know of anybody else who's watching this and would enjoy commentary, make sure to share this with them. And while you're here, make sure to like the stream.
Ooh, so they've got 9 petitions, not including whatever the connection or the constitutional committee's got left. Yeah. So they're trying to get done at 3, and then they've got the consecration committee, the consecration service for the new bishops after that, and then I think they'll adjourn. So 5, 6, and that's if they rubber stamp everything and don't go into. But they've got, I mean, they've got stuff from the educational committee, all
the
kinds of
ministry
committees.
one.
What?
Ministry and ordained clergy, I think, is that one what it's called?
He's listed off a lot of them.
Morning, Bishop of Smyrna, Mr. Polycarp. The R.S. Hunk. Hi, Jeffrey. I became a GMC senior elder on June 11th, 2023, and attend Nicholasville Methodist Church in Kentucky, just 5 miles from Wilmore. I'm an Asbury 77 alum. Very glad to have you with us.
Jennifer says the constitutional, which is the last one they're gonna, I think they're gonna talk about, has the mission statement, but that's probably gonna be controversial. So,
well, I can't imagine David is just gonna let those adverbs slide.
Right.
Got Aaron K with us again this morning from Durand in Michigan. Oh, Jennifer said that. You've discovered you like reading Jennifer's comments to me. She has good comments, you're right.
Yeah. That's helpful.
John, so much has happened. He was just talking about Upendo Lukandi, who's the now they're going to be considered conference superintendents in Tanzania. I interviewed him. His wife gave birth yesterday and had complications, had to get surgery. She and the baby girl are okay. I wrote him privately yesterday, and he got back to me.
Okay.
So, yeah. The conference secretary is thanking all the other secretaries.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Joe DiPaolo also has a new granddaughter. Exciting times. He was one of the few people I was able to interview on site. As he recognizes Lamar, Lamar is just still staring down. It's almost like he doesn't like the limelight. Lamar is to the right in the back.
Learning.
John Beavers wants to know all the things that happened this week. Going in reverse order, they established new educational standards yesterday and decided how the accrediting system would work for higher education institutions. It's going to be stricter than a lot of the younger folks wanted. They selected 6 new bishops. They're going to consecrate them later today. Jones and Webb continue to serve. What else happened? They approved a petition that I submitted yesterday as amended to be referred to the Finance Connectional Committee to bring legislation in 2026 for financial transparency. What are some other things that have happened in previous days?
Bishops.
I already said bishops.
Oh, you already got that. Okay. Keith Boyette's retirement.
Yep. Half of the elections have taken place.
Yeah. The elections for the connectional councils.
Well, and yeah, a big thing was how they were going to elect bishops. They figured that out first before they actually elected bishops.
Right, yeah. They decided to go with, put extra ones in there, but ended up mainly
That didn't matter at all.
picking the ones that TLC recommended anyways. Establish a constitution.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was a big deal.
Thank you, Jennifer. I think a lot of it's just been going over random petitions and saying, oh, okay, this is what we're wanting, this is what we don't want. A lot of those were editorial, I think.
Yeah, there's been a ton of editorial work.
They accepted that it's now a proper book of discipline. It's not transitional, so that was like the first thing they did. It's adopted the book of discipline.
Yeah, a lot of consent calendar work, but the thing we've liked about how they do the consent calendars is they still go down the line and explain each one very briefly why they voted the way that they did. A lot more transparency, better communication. Good to see you this morning, Lisa. Lisa was with us 2 days ago in the studio. Really helped out a lot. We miss you.
It's nice to have her here.
Yeah. Everybody there has said that it's been a very gracious gathering. There have been a lot of different opinions about how things should go, but they've been very gracious with each other. There's been really powerful worship. Oh, yeah, one of the first reports was from Beth Ann Cook, who put the General Conference together. She gave a financial report, which was really good, but also talked about how they're going to try and put 2026 together, and she's actually about to present on how they want to do that. So they're about to distribute the voting devices. For those of you who haven't heard her initial report, she is recommending that we meet in a Central African country for only 5 days in 2026. If you don't know who Beth Ann Cook is, this is her. I interviewed her a month and a half, 2 months ago. Really good conversation. She did a fantastic job. A lot of disappointment. There were several African delegates, at least 12, I want to say, who were unable to be in attendance because of visa issues again.
It was like 30, I just wanted to say.
30?
20 to 30. Yeah. The one you're talking about, the ones on Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're listening to scripture. Oh, maybe she already finished.
I don't know if it's just me being selfish, but I wish they would just skip the kind of congratulating everybody on doing what they were elected to do. Like, you got work to do. Let's get to it. Like,
I kind of liked how Keith did it yesterday in the clip you put together.
yeah, where he's just like,
I'm just really uncomfortable with this.
yes,
Praise God. I want to bless those who come after.
yeah, no, that was great. Like that was the only part of I just happened to click to that one part, and I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm gonna have to watch the rest of it.
Jennifer says there's 21 on Zoom.
Okay.
And what they did say yesterday was that all of them have been able to participate online.
Yeah.
So even though they couldn't be there in person, the only people that have been disenfranchised were there were 4 Episcopal candidates who couldn't be there in person. And I heard from Angela yesterday. She couldn't have been there. She's moving. Her passport needed to get renewed. She didn't have the time or the disposable income to move at this point. So it's just rough. A lot of people would have enjoyed voting for Angela, even if she didn't get it.
I like what Jennifer said.
Jennifer said, if they aren't going to get done if God gets all the glory, but please clap for these people that did all the work.
Right.
Brian says, regarding the educational requirements, if someone is already in the process of completing their education for ordination, that they follow the disciple that they started under. Yeah, previous standards are maintained. They've only approved new standards now, but they're not moving the goalposts for those who've already begun the process. That would be tomorrow that this goes into effect. She's referencing her original report to the body.
If
y'all don't know who Beth Ann Cook is, she was very active in denominational stuff as a conservative, a visible public conservative leader in the United Methodist Church. So she's been public and vocal for a while. And she's been very capable in her capacity of putting this together. Do they have the new plan printed off on today's daily journal?
They've got I think she's going over the plan of organization covenant, which is on the last page.
Oh, I think I see it. Is that last? Are there only 5 pages?
So, yeah, but it's only got it says modifications to the plan printed in the daily journal for the 25th. So the whole thing's on the 25th, but this has got the modifications in it, which are there's only 3.
All right, so I got to find the 25th. I don't
September
think I have
22nd.
that. The 22nd, you said?
That's what she's saying now.
I have that.
So this is spread over 3 different daily journals?
2. Oh, no, you're right. So that's frustrating. All right, English. I think this is, yeah. On the 25th, there's a morning and an evening?
No, this is the 22nd.
22nd. Okay, I was looking at the right one. Okay, so on the 25th, what page are we looking at?
Hold on. Page 11 on the 22nd. I think she's talking about.
I'm there. Okay. I found the plan of organization on the 25th. It's on page 13. No, there's no way they are. Oh, okay. I'm wrong.
So I think these are the changes they're making to the 2026 General Conference.
So they already made a number of changes that are noted on the 25th, and then they have one for the 26th as well that changes a few more things on it.
Say that again.
So on yesterday's,
Yes.
there are
Yesterday's
several
the 25th.
changes, but then there's another one published today that has even more changes.
Yeah.
That's not the right form.
That's not a good omen. The technology's not working.
Sorry,
They're
brother.
taking a hand vote.
Yeah. Everybody supported it. So everybody's consented to a 5-day. You know, it's interesting they had no votes because they're on the last day of a full week where they have so much work to get done. They're going to have this much work, if not more, in 2 years.
Maybe, but I feel like a lot of this, like the evening sessions were mostly worship and other stuff. So like there's a lot of time that they could have kind of pushed some of this stuff a little bit harder than they did.
So they just approved it, and now she's going through the substance of it. Is that right?
Committees.
I think maybe they had to approve the changes, and now they're adopting the whole thing. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That would make sense. Yeah, Jimmy, I don't remember what that vote was about. Hey, Lawrence, welcome.
Tom Lambert's just explaining how they're doing the legislative committees for 2026, which I kind of like better.
Oh, I like that better.
Yeah.
I'm still pessimistic about them getting all the work done in 5 days, but
Probably. We'll see.
because like even if you appoint more time to it, people have a threshold of how much of that work they can do in any given day, or
Right.
and do it well.
Oh, mine shut off for some reason. I'm really curious to find out which country they're.
Gonna have the next conference in?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Central Africa, there aren't a whole lot of real stable places.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, I was thinking yesterday, like, well, maybe they'll do Nigeria, but that's iffy.
I can imagine Zimbabwe.
Yeah. I was looking at, okay, where do they have a presence at? Central African Republic, the Congo. I feel like the Congo's a little sketch.
Well, so is the CAR.
I don't know.
And Jennifer says getting it done probably depends on the unity of the body in 2026. And I think it's probably fictitious to imagine that we're going to stay as unified as we are right now, but maybe not. Tom is talking about how to do 2026 right, and the timeline matters. And so he's saying elections need to take place a good deal earlier so that they can engage in the legislative assemblies meetings earlier.
I wish they would do it in Ethiopia. I'd go there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but that's not Central
No,
Africa.
it's not,
We know
but-
it's going to be in Central Africa. Actually, Ethiopia is having a civil war right now, isn't it?
I don't. Are they? Hmm.
As last time I heard about it was like 4 months ago. He's pointing us to today's journal on the last page. Oh, he's talking about these small amendments here. Yeah, Methodists are very concerned with the right name to call things. Ugh. Oh.
What they need to do is like they should have just put all of the stuff on the one for today rather than just the corrections. And Jimmy's got a point. He says they had to find a location that will hold 400 delegates and have motels or hotels.
Yeah, there aren't many places you can do that.
No.
Well,
I mean, it's
maybe
gonna-
there. I don't know.
In the capitals, surely. Maybe.
I'm not going to pretend to know about the state of economic development.
Yeah,
I mean, we know they're developing nations, but
It's going to depend where. Like if you said Nigeria, sure they've got it. They should have enough to do that.
Yeah.
At least in the capital.
well, yeah, Jalingo, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's northwestern Africa.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Eileen's right. They've already chosen the place they're going to be meeting, and they've only told us it's in Central Africa.
plan.
Do we have a poll up?
Yeah. So the other one, this is the second one. How many adverbs are appropriate for a mission statements?
Yeah.
Most people were saying 1 to 2 is fine. It's 54%.
How many total votes?
It was only 11.
11 people.
1 to 2 was 54. 3 to 4 was 18. Nobody voted for 0. Oh no, 18% voted for 0. And then 5 to 6 was 9%.
Huh.
The one that's up now is, do you think they'll complete their business today by 3 p.m.? 79%.
Let me listen to this question real quick.
Legislative committee.
They're asking about the rules for legislative committees and conducting these electronic meetings in the month leading up to the conference. So Lambrecht is looking up the section in the plan of. And he just directed him to this section here. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Clark Atkins is up with a question. Did you catch that, TJ?
He's asking about the numbers of some of the things because they've changed since they've adopted stuff.
Oh, there is. I'm seeing it right there. .3C2 on page 27. Oh, okay. What page would that be on? I think it would be right here on page 22.
18, it's probably
No.
going to be different, but that's the 25th.
Okay, that's where they have legislative committees. .7. Okay, that's 7 right there. And then it has the list of committees, and he wants to add a number 9 constitution.
Organ.
Bishop Webb is clarifying the exact wording of what's being added. So Clark Atkins I think he's in Arkansas, the Trinity Conference, has suggested an amendment that will make sure there's a legislative committee dedicated to reviewing petitions that deal with the Constitution. And even though you can only make these changes with a 2/3 vote, it is possible and realistic that there would be petitions that do that. So now a delegate is rising to try and figure out, if there wasn't this legislative committee for the Constitution, if there was stuff dealing with the Constitution, how would it be dealt with? Which legislative committee would it go to? Tom says that you don't necessarily need the Constitutional Legislative Committee. You can farm it out to other legislative committees. Jennifer, I hadn't caught that. I thought the section I just highlighted a minute ago said it had to be by 2/3, but are you saying in 2026? Oh, for 2026 only. Okay. Ryan Barnett is speaking for the amendment. I think he headed up the Constitution Legislative Committee this year, didn't he? Barnett?
Yeah. I thought that's who that was talking, but they didn't change the picture yet. So from what I understand...
Oh, he's talking about the simple majority being necessary?
From what I understand, the way 2026 is going to work, if anybody proposes a change to the Constitution...
Yeah.
That particular change, depending on what that change entails, like if it's something that deals with finance, it'll go to the Finance Committee instead of a Constitutional Committee.
According to Lambrick's setup.
Yeah, and Barnett's saying, nah, it was helpful to have a whole Constitutional Committee that looked at the Constitution as
a whole. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have it turn into a piecemeal document that doesn't necessarily fit together as well.
Right, yeah.
So they're about to vote on the Atkins Amendment, which would create a legislative committee for the Constitution. I think that'd be total of 9.
I mean, I assume it would be the same as what they've got now, what they're doing for this General Conference.
Yeah, I forget how many legislative committees they have right now. Oh, finance would be part of it as well?
I don't know why they would limit it to less than what they've got now. Like it.
Well, right now they had a finance one that was separate. But I'm looking at the list here, and I'm not seeing anything finance. So I think, oh, wait, connectional organization, finance. Were they talking about adding Constitution onto number 7? Or making a new one altogether?
6 point something, but I'm not tracking. Jennifer says that the amendment adds Constitution
to connectional and finance.
So connectional, finance, and Constitution, that is going to be one.
Connectional organization, finance, and Constitution. Those are 3 different spheres.
They're going to add it all. That's going to be one committee.
Yeah. Makes more sense to me just to make a 9th committee.
Yeah. I don't know why they're having it. I don't know why. Just leave it the way it is right now.
Well, the way it is right now, there isn't any one committee that's overseeing the whole Constitution.
There's a Constitutional Committee. That's what Barnett's on.
Right. Oh, right now. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying leave this document as
Oh,
it is
no,
right
no.
now.
We just leave all the ones that they've got right now.
Yeah, I want to see the list of what we've got right now and hold it up against this one. We definitely have a judicial administration. We definitely have a finance, but that's different from connectional organization. And they've got those together. We've definitely got conferences. We've definitely got superintendency. We've definitely got ministry. I don't think we have a local church one. I think that one's new.
Let me
And then
see
the
if I can
social witness one we have. No, I don't think we do. No, we didn't have a social witness one
No.
either. Doctrine and sacraments, I feel like, I don't think we had that either.
No, that's not one of them.
Okay, so the three new ones are doctrine and sacraments, social witness, and local church.
I don't know about the local church one. I think
I'm
that
pretty
was-
sure we don't have local church.
Let me see if I can find a list of them.
Yeah, I don't think they had a social witness this time. That would have been divisive. It's going to be divisive in 26.
Oh yeah.
Because we've already seen, we've held on to a lot of the left-leaning politics of the UMC, even if it's not as extreme far left as what we left behind.
Right.
A lot of understanding of race and sex that conforms to worldly understandings of these things.
Okay, from the original, this is the pre-conference workbook, the committees of the General Conference.
That's for this session that we're in right now.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they've got the administrative committee,
Administrative?
credentials.
We don't have that. Are you looking at? Oh, those are administrative committees you're looking at right now.
Yeah, what
We're
connectional
looking
committees?
for legislative.
Oh,
committees.
okay, yeah, legislative committees, conferences,
Okay, we got that.
connectional organization.
Yeah, but that's combined with finance for 26.
Okay,
So, but in this one, it's been separate.
constitution.
We do not have that one, and they just added it to number 7.
Okay, so they did pass that vote.
I don't think so. I think they're taking it right now. They did support the amendment. 57 people were opposed to it.
Let's see what Toby has
So
to
they're
say.
to the motion as amended.
Election.
You may not can release a date. Dude is a Southerner. Beth Ann Cook just said, next time you have an annual conference gathering, you should be electing delegates.
Yeah, because he's just worried about the timeline for
Yeah.
getting delegates ready.
If you wait till 2026, you'll probably be too late.
Together.
Hey, TJ, real quick, look up and see if there was a legislative committee on local church ministry.
It's the ministry and local churches. This last one, yeah, 7
I was wrong. You and
So-
Jennifer were right.
conferences, connectional organization, constitution, episcopacy and superintendency, financial administration, judicial administration, and ministry and local church.
So we had 7.
7.
Next time we already had 8, and we still have 8 because we added constitution onto connectional organization and finance.
When
So this is a petition that as they divvy up the membership of the legislative committees that they take into consideration DEI concerns. So they're looking at this section right here. So they're dealing with membership on legislative committees. So starting here, membership. What's the difference between racial and ethnic? TJ and I are both of one mind that the only diversity that matters is geographical.
Like I understand that they feel like they were disenfranchised in the UMC justifiably, but yeah, the only way to it just sounds like it's language unless you're making quotas, and I'm not for quotas. Other than that, it's just nice language that's in there. That sounds, oh yeah, just keep this in mind whenever you're voting for people. Okay.
But also, like if you're putting people in by their preferences, then you're going to be shoehorning people places where they don't even really want to go in order to have equal representation.
Right. Yeah. Because if you put that in there and then, like I said, unless it's got quotas next to it, that's actually going to make it happen. It's just nice language.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not for quotas.
Yeah, I mean, it's potentially not just nice language. It is something that can be used well, and is the language here suggests that it should be used in order to change the composition of these groups. Like
right.
it would change how they divvy people up. They would, when they register, they have to file, these are my inalienable characteristics, and then that has to be one of the primary concerns as they divvy these people up.
So if you've got two people that are like specifically from one area, but and they're great at whatever that is.
Yeah. And then you got a bunch of people that say, this is my third choice, or it's not even one of my choices.
Right, but they happen to be the right gender or the right ethnicity. Well, we got to put them in instead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's problematic. Like, I understand the want for that coming out of the GMC, but...
Yeah, Jennifer Groff says, if all the accountants are of one sex and race, I still want them on the finance committee.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, yeah, like I said yesterday, if all the bishops were from Africa because they're super conservative, I'm fine with that. Throw them all in.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would prefer that, actually.
Right? Yeah.
But not because they just happen to be from Africa or they happen to be black. It's because of their ideology.
Oh, they passed it.
That doesn't surprise me at all. It's just the underlying culture that's kind of permeating from the UMC into the GMC. It's
You know, if I could go back in time, I would have had us start like a collection of clips just dealing with the DEI stuff. Yeah. Let's make a note to do that in 2026.
Every time they bring up, okay.
Yeah. Like if we had drinking games, it'd be a good drinking game. Asking about legislative meetings prior to conference. I'll be right back.
Practice squad, I don't know if you meant to hit enter, but I don't see the poll question.
Look at you making yourself full view. You're growing.
They just requested to call the question.
Okay. Vote on the plan of organization and our life together document.
Yeah. I didn't think they would get hung up on this one as much as they did.
Jennifer's reminding us that it was the feminist vote that shaped our bishop nomination process and the first ballot for bishop. Yeah. I'm not remembering the particulars of how it shaped the bishop nominations process, but Jennifer's been right every time, so I'm not going to disagree with Jennifer. So they took a vote to call the question, and it prevailed, so they're going to vote now on whether or not to adopt the plan. Practice Squad is recommending a poll 1, risk being Anglo-centric versus only going by educational qualifications. I think I get what he's trying to get at.
Yeah, flesh that out a little bit more.
Okay. The way I would frame it is, would you rather have a diverse church? Is it more important to you to have a diverse church by inalienable characteristics or a functional and capably led church? People would say that framing it that way is racist.
I was just going to make a joke, and that sounds pretty racist.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's just like, where is the priority? And a lot of people would say, we can do both. Just because you diversify things doesn't mean it's going to be bad quality.
Yeah, I just put it on a poll. It's and should ethnicity, race?
Oh, they're taking a hand vote.
Yeah, I think they're still messing with the voting stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Should ethnicity, race, or gender be a determining factor for legislative committee appointments? Yes or no?
Say it again.
Should ethnicity, race, or gender be a determining
that's
factor
better,
for
yeah.
legislative committee appointments?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, if Practice Squad gets another one up there, I'll put it up. But
Beth Ann asked for a moment of personal privilege. Giving credit to Tom Lambrecht and John Lamperis. Jennifer's remembering that Beth Ann didn't want the new Episcopal nominations process because she wanted promises that women would be represented. Mostly, I think Carolyn Moore probably. But yeah, I do remember her being anxious about changing the process because she wanted to make sure there'd be enough females.
was she the one that asked, like, oh, well, how many women are on the list?
I think she asked if we did this and we took the whole slate off, then how many women would we have on the new slate?
Yeah.
And then they're like, there's no way we would know that.
Right. What did she ask?
Did you hear what this lady said?
I'm going to go back and listen to it.
I think she was asking, is this a permanent document now, or are we going to revise this every time we get together? And he says, revise it every time we get together. So it's not set in stone that we're going to be having Zoom meetings for months beforehand, we can go back to the way that we did it in the United Methodist Church if it doesn't work this next time.
Where they would meet at General Conference, the legislative committees, and then work through it.
Yeah, either that
That's
or
fine.
have in-person meetings.
Yeah, if it
beforehand.
doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
A plan is something we deviate from. Lisa says we should elect the most qualified ahead of diversity. It's fine to have it in mind as long as the candidates are also the most qualified to accomplish the work. And that's been the rhetoric. I mean, that sounds very reasonable, but that's been the rhetoric of affirmative action forever, and it's still caused nothing but resentment on both parties. You know, once you start using that as a valid lens, then these selections become disingenuously interpreted. Beth Ann is still talking. She's got to talk about what now? Oh, she's asking to re-elect Tom Lambrecht as our secretary and Lamar for
I think
assistant secretary.
just keep Tom and Lamar.
Yeah, they're great.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Although, you know, they do fit into the inalienable skinny white nerd.
White guys. The white
We need
Anglos.
to consider some African nerds.
Right.
Come on, Beth Ann, where's the woman nerds?
Yeah. No, I think that they as good a job as they've done.
Oh yeah.
Seemingly at this one. I mean, they're going to be even more prepared for the next one.
See, like you or I could maybe do all right at it, but we would be super stressed.
I would be
there.
real stressed. You put me under what Tom Lambert's doing, and I'll start lashing out at people.
Yeah, he's been cool as a cucumber this whole time. I should rephrase. I'm sure that neither one of us could actually approximate the job that Tom has done.
Not. I don't know what all it entails.
I'm just saying, like, even if we had the baseline level of knowledge needed to do what he's done, we still wouldn't manage our stress as well.
Yeah,
as
no,
he did.
he's got the temperament for it. I definitely do not. You put me on the spot like that, and I get mean.
All right. Are they taking a vote right? Oh, yeah. The vote they're taking is whether or not to put Tom and Lamar back in their positions for the next meeting in 2 years. And so they've already received almost all the votes there, 297. So have they handed out the voting devices?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I feel like they've
handed them out.
Then why did they do the hand count a minute ago?
I think this is the first vote they've actually.
Oh, is it? I thought I
able to
saw the
do.
screen already today.
100%. Everybody voted for.
Yep. I got 100% approved. Wouldn't that feel nice?
Yeah.
Oh, and they got an applause. All right, we got 40-some people with us at this point. Make sure if you're on YouTube to fill out the poll that we have up. Make sure to sign in and let us know who you are. Make sure to like this stream. Oh, Lamar's smiling. All right. Good for you, brother. Ooh, Jimmy Boone says it'd be cool to have a breakdown of delegates and where they went to seminary. Of course, that'd be the clergy delegates. But even so, that'd be an interesting, I don't know. That'd be very difficult to put together unless they had to fill it out for the application process. I wonder who's responsible for designing the application form for delegates. Jimmy, figure it out. I have commissioned you. Jennifer said the computer they were using it for voting crashed, and they're using a different computer that wasn't formatted for it. That's stressful.
So I think they're going with the nominations for the
Sounds like it.
connectional committees. Maybe.
All right, we've got the 22nd journal. All right, we're going to be on page 20 of 24. All right, here's the list of names that we're going to consult. No, I'm on the wrong page.
21.
Okay, thank you. This is the General Conference Commission. Okay. Gabriela Kopas from Slovakia has been given a big platform. She's one of the primary prayer leaders of the denomination and women's ministry leaders of the denomination. There's Clark Atkins.
Moved.
They're just getting the names in order for the General Conference Commission is what they're going to be voting on.
Oh, man, I should have been... Let's see, can I do something? Boom.
Did you download it? So, number 2, Clark Atkins is off because he's on some other commission. I don't remember what he said.
I forget how to format this. Ah. I'm redacting things. No, that's not the right thing. Oh, I got text messages I got to look at.
Elaine, they are voting on the clergy for the General Conference Commission.
And that's the crew that does what Beth Ann Cook and her crew did this time. They planned the next general conference. They're responsible for all of the logistical planning and how to do all the things, how to enact the plan of our organization and life together document.
Right. So they'll be determining what's 2032 General Conference. So 6 years after.
Are we nominating it for that far out? I thought it was just for the next conference.
I thought they already determined how they're going to do the next conference.
They did, but you need the people who are responsible for enacting it.
Oh, okay. So they've
already secured the venue, but there's all kinds of like negotiations with vendors. How it is that we're gonna somebody's got to calculate all the delegates, where they come from, collect all the records. I mean, hopefully it's getting corrected by somebody else, but like you have to implement the whole agreement.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Elaine Olson's just now joining us. They are, you just
Yes,
answered that question. Okay. Jennifer says this one might be nice to have someone from Africa on. That's where they're planning on meeting. Yeah, you're right. See, that kind of common sense.
It looks like there's 2 people from Africa on there.
Only 2.
Out of
I
13.
thought I saw some. Okay. Well, okay. Cesar Gaza's from CAR.
Yeah.
And then
4
Eris
and 11.
Nizal Kazunga's from Congo. And then Kawadzi Love is from Congo. Did one of them get removed, though?
Yeah. The only one on there is the
Kwanji.
Yeah.
So they took off Eris Nizal.
Yes.
Let me see if I'm still. Oopsie. Let me try this again. Interesting. Here we go. Just thinking. They don't have Cesar Gaza on there no more?
No, I think they took him off. Oh no, he's on there. 4.
Okay. So the way they do these voting machines is how many spots do they have open?
There's 13. 13 people that are nominated
Well, no.
and 5 spots.
Okay,
they've
5
gotta
spots.
pick
So they
5.
have to like pick 5 names off this list. If you pick 4, your vote doesn't count. If you pick 6, it doesn't count.
Yeah, you've got to press. Okay, say I'm gonna vote for the person number 1. You got to press 1, press OK. Make sure you get a message back that says, "Okay, your thing's recorded." Then you want to vote for 2, press 2, press OK. Wait for a thing to get back, an OK message to get back, and do that 5 times for your vote to count. And if you get to 10, what I think he said is you got to press 1 0. I didn't understand it. You got to press 1 0 and OK, or you just press 0 and OK. I don't know. 0 wouldn't make sense. So 1 0, OK. Wait for a message to get back that says OK, and then go on to the next one.
Practice Squad asks, is there a physical denominational headquarters? No. I don't think we have any official buildings.
Yeah, I think they were trying to not have that happen.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Part of me is like, okay, yeah, have a central office. That'd be great. But then it's like, okay, do you have to have the bishops move there, or who's in charge of this? Like, what's the point if they're going to be living where they're going to be living? Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, it'd be denominational officials. So not bishops, but like the CFO and the chief communications officer and their staffs.
Expecting them to move to a certain area.
Yeah. Yeah. No, as it is, we can draw on anyone anywhere, and as long as they have an internet connection, then they can collaborate and work with everybody else on the team. I think there have been studies showing that remote work is not of the same quality as in-person work, but I kind of don't care for that particular. I mean, for this.
Well, yeah,
denomination, a
no.
global
If this was
denomination.
like a business that needed to be run, you've got like, okay, productivity that needs to be done. Then sure, yeah, but
apparently,
for
when the
sure.
train came by a minute ago, our microphones picked it up. It's a charming piece of small town life. I know trains go through cities as well, but
I've always found it annoying.
oh, I love it.
Ugh.
I sleep so good with a train blaring in the night.
Like, it doesn't bother me, but I lived far enough outside of town growing up that I didn't have to hear it. It's great.
I lived in an apartment in Conway, Arkansas when I was an undergrad, that when the train went by, it was 15 feet from my apartment.
No, absolutely not.
It was like 25 feet from where I slept.
I'm a light sleeper. I couldn't do that.
Oh, it was great. It like shook, like vibrated. It just take me down to a whole new level of sleep.
Well, we've got an old train station in town that's a restaurant now, and it's it annoys me when the train comes by, because if I'm trying to talk to somebody,
Well, yeah, in the restaurant you're trying to talk, but
Yeah.
man, I could take a good nap in that restaurant. If there was a bed in there. Yeah, everybody has to just stop talking or like start yelling to be heard. But yeah, even if you yell, it's so loud in there.
I like the peace and quiet, no highway noise, no train noise, no barking dogs. Great. Oh, okay. New poll. Last poll was should ethnicity, race, and gender be a determining factor for legislative committee appointments? 17 votes, 94% said no.
Oh,
So one
Okay.
person. I don't know if that was one person or a couple people, but 5% said yes.
yeah. And I think you framed that well. It wasn't the only concern. It was just a concern.
Well, a determining factor.
A determining factor. Yeah, a determining
Yeah.
factor. It's not the only determining
Right.
factor. It's just a one. And there are a lot of people for whom it's very important for the optics to be right.
What's a theological question? We've gotten to theological stuff yesterday.
I don't want to do sacramental theology again. That got
Okay,
testy.
no Lord's Supper, no baptism. What else? What else we got? What is a
I mean,
foundational
something-
belief from John Wesley that sets him apart from?
We've
the
already
Baptists?
asked about entire sanctification
Yes,
the other day.
something aside from that.
Does God give you the faith that saves you, or do you have it and offer it to Him?
Does saving faith come from you, or does it come from God? Is that what?
No, that has the answer in the question. The faith. No, go ahead now. What? The faith in you that saves you, does it come from you or from God? Did you choose? Oh no, yeah. No, it's too messy. All right, back off from that one.
Well, let's do end time stuff maybe.
Oh my gosh.
No. Is the rapture a real thing?
No, not right. Are we in the millennium? Has the millennium already happened? Is the millennium yet to happen? Or what are you talking about?
Okay. Are we in it? Has it already happened?
Yeah.
Or is it a future event? Or
What are you talking about? Yeah.
undecided?
No. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Because so many people they haven't even read Revelation. They don't even know what that is. I want to know how many people have not read Revelation. They don't know what the millennial reign is.
Okay. Let me see. How should I phrase the question?
We've got, man, when I said sign in earlier, nobody signed in. Y'all are becoming disobedient. Looks like Sterling and Beth Ann plus Mike Grant are in so far. In that committee? Yeah, they better put Beth Ann in there. Oh, the star indicates that they're already in? Really? Can you do that?
I think that's is that a recommendation from the TLC?
It's a TLC recommendation.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
right, yes. Practice Squad, the reason entire sanctification is controversial is because a lot of people get really stressed out if the standard is perfection. They'd like to believe that you can fall somewhere short of there and God will still be happy with you. And so they don't want this like continuous standard held up of them falling short. I think that'll have to be a separate poll, Practice Squad.
I can do another one.
Oh, Jennifer said they had the numbers up for a second. Oh, okay. So that's why she said that, not because of the star, but because they had the numbers up and they cleared the margin.
Oh.
But it wasn't Anthony McPhail. It was Beth Ann. Mike Grant was the third one from Allegheny West. Oh, but he has a star as well. We just gave up on the live stream a few days ago whenever they were doing elections. We were so bored and we ran out of things to talk about. Yeah, people get... I talked about the millennial reign from the pulpit on Sunday. Were you paying attention?
I don't recall it now.
I was talking about the biblical lens through which people argue that we are in the millennial reign right now.
Yeah, and then whenever we get into end time stuff, I still just like,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot this because you're like, let's do end time stuff, but you're asking to go a place you don't even like going.
yeah.
Let's just get the people riled up. Says
At
TJ.
one point, yeah, that's what I was going for. At some point, I'll sit down and determine where I'm at on it for sure. But
I don't see the point of doing that really.
I'm more of like, oh, it's going to happen how it's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Worry about discipleship now and stuff now.
But even though the millennium is only referred to like briefly in Revelation, I do feel like it's important. I feel like that part's important. I don't know why I feel like it is. It's one of those things where like I don't think a shrug is responsible. But I don't know.
Probably not. But I'm gonna shrug.
I listened to this debate with Keith Foskey, who's an amillennial, and he says, "You want me to believe that the millennium is a future time when Christ bodily comes back to earth, and yet evil people still are sinning and Christ is here on earth reigning, and that just maintains for 1,000 years? And it gets so bad that it results in like an eschatological battle at the end?"
So you're saying all millennials, their belief is that it's a future event? I thought they
No,
believed
they
it was
say it
it's
is right now.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Well, so amillennial literally means I don't believe in a millennial reign, I guess. But Foskey calls himself amillennial, but then he makes the case that like the millennium is now. Satan has in some sense been bound. Christ is reigning through his church on earth, and yet evil people are on earth because the Christ hasn't come in the flesh yet. But when he comes in the flesh, that's when the final battle is, and then after that is the perfect reign of peace. But he says it's crazy to him to imagine that Christ is going to reign directly on earth and evil will still persist whenever he's reigning here bodily. So that if you read the millennium that way, that don't make any sense.
I posted the question. When is the millennial reign? We're in it right now. It's already happened. It's a future event. What are you even talking about?
So D is the first answer. She says it's a future event. Jennifer says it's not for us to know the day or the hour as far as the end times. Just worry about your own salvation and those around you. Yeah.
That's kind of my view on it as of right now.
Daniel's very impressed with your disposition.
Yeah, for some reason, there's people that just get super obsessed about it, and I think that's weird.
Well, so we need to do a follow-up one with like how many really do believe in a rapture where Jesus like takes us up and takes us away to heaven while earth becomes a hellhole.
Yeah. Okay, that's one of them, and then Practice Squad said he had one. Is the 1,000 years symbolic? Oh, we'll just do it. Is the 1,000 years symbolic or literal?
Yeah.
We'll do that as a question.
Are they still doing the first vote here?
I think so.
Tabulating? Man, the tabulation takes forever.
Oh, he's got it now.
He's got the answer. Who's got it? We want 5 people, and at least 3 made it.
I only got 4 out of the 5.
Oh, great.
Okay. Beth Ann Cook got it again. Good. Sterling Allen did too.
Anyone who hasn't seen my interview with Anthony McPhail, he talked to me about lay ministry. Real capable guy.
I feel like I've watched that one at least, but I don't remember anything about it.
I don't remember anything about it because I was super stressed out the whole time because I was trying to do this new setup in here.
Ugh.
And it didn't go well. I had to heavily edit that to be watchable later.
Only got 9 votes so far on the poll. 10 votes. Thank you for that person that just voted.
So Keenan Williams says post-millennial is there is a millennial reign before Christ's return. So that would describe Keith Foskey's position. It's not making a statement about where we are right now. It's just making a statement of, does it come before Christ's return or is it at Christ's return? It wouldn't make sense to say it's after his return. Nobody would say that.
There's a millennial reign. He returns and then there's a millennial reign. That you saying that doesn't make any sense?
Yeah. Yes. Because in Revelation, there's a millennial reign, there's an end times final battle, and then the kingdom of God comes. So to say that,
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So
it wouldn't make any sense to say you have the millennium, and then Jesus comes in the flesh, and then there's a millennium. Yeah.
Yeah,
wait.
and then what happens after that?
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't fit into, yeah, nobody would say that.
This,
So we're dealing with different frameworks here. They're just going down the line of candidates and how much each got, how many votes each one got.
So nobody says it's already happened. We've got 36% says that we're in it now, and then 64 that say it's a future event.
So it hasn't concluded. Yeah, nobody's going to say it's already concluded because it is.
Yeah, I guess
concluded.
I should have rephrased that.
Yeah.
Well,
But no, that's
no,
how I
no,
told
no,
you to
that's
phrase
one.
it.
That's right. Because we've already got one. It's we are currently in it. I guess I should phrase that.
Yeah, we're in it, or it hasn't happened yet, it hasn't begun yet. But if you think it hasn't begun yet, then you think like, well, first, yeah, you would. Well, and this is kind of what we dealt with a few weeks ago. Like some people think there isn't any way Jesus is coming yet because these other things that are supposed to happen haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
Give you a sense of security that I got time to get it together.
Yeah, well, I'll see these certain events and I'll be like, oh, it's happening. Maybe I should get right now.
Mhm.
Or
There have always been people who try to game the system. Constantine refused to get baptized till he knew he was about to die.
Yeah.
D says, well, with respect to the rapture, maybe, maybe not, but it doesn't matter to me whether it is or isn't. It does not change my final destination. Yeah, and most people can say, so the reason that this still matters is when people think, oh, no, that's not. Yeah, can you be saved while having false or faulty views of the end times? Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah,
Almost certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Unless
think
you
the
follow John
majority of people
MacArthur.
are wrong.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if anybody's 100% correct about
If
how the end
anybody
times-
is?
Yeah. I mean, there's probably going to be some little thing that's off that they're not correct about.
Defined Faith says post-millenarian and amillennial are really closely related, as I understand it. The post-millennial view tends to support theonomy and has optimism about the growth of the kingdom in history. Yeah, there was a debate between Keith Foskey and Doug Wilson, where both of them said they were optimistic about that as well. So, yeah, theonomy, that's kind of like Christian nationalism. Like, it's okay for the church to exercise worldly authority for the good of all humanity because, in some sense, we can facilitate the growth of the kingdom here on earth.
You're saying that's what theonomy is?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, well, the Bible college that I went,
Define theonomy.
I've got it pulled up because I had to look it up. It's a hypothetical Christian form of government in which society is ruled by divine law. Theonomists hold that divine law, particularly the judicial laws of the Old Testament, should be observed by modern societies.
Yeah. There are a ton of people in the Reformed camp who believe in that. And going back to the modernist time in the Methodist tradition, we also believe, well, and you'll find that today by people saying we're building the kingdom.
Yeah, the Bible college I went to was pretty obsessed with that.
Yeah, yeah. So the alternative to that is like, yeah, the way people walk in tension with this is really kind of crazy, or not crazy. It's just hard. But like, you'll find people who simultaneously say we need to normalize and practice biblical principles of like radical inclusion and acceptance, while simultaneously accepting that the state and the church are not at all the same, and you can't at all like put the 10 commandments at a state house or something. Like, we have to legislate these parts of the faith but not other parts of the faith. You'll find that on the left, and you'll also find that on the right too,
Right.
where you have to practice the 10 commandments but show no mercy to the poor or something. That's a caricature, but
Yeah.
we all kind of agree that our faith has political implications, but how explicitly our faith can be stamped onto our political framework is where we disagree, and to like what degree we can coerce conformity on our moral principles that come out of our faith. So when one of the frustrating things people say that they're kind of right is like, all laws are moral. You say I can't legislate my morality on you. Well, every single law is moral. We're
Right.
legislating someone's morality. We might as well do Jesus' morality.
Yeah, and where do those morals come from?
Yeah.
Are they coming from you, or are they coming from God? Like, let's not act like your atheist morals are some objective and not influenced by something else.
Yeah, if it's influenced by my reason, anytime you see like Enlightenment atheist humanists take over and make laws based on that, it goes pretty wonky pretty fast, actually.
Yeah.
All right, they've got.
This one should be faster since they're only voting on one person.
Yep. I only know who a couple of these are. So I'm going to look at that comment from Defined Faith again. Post-mill and ah-mill are really closely related. The post-millennial views tend to support theonomy, and they have optimism about the growth of the kingdom in history. So yeah, they look at times in history where Christendom has grown, and Christianity wields worldly power, and it actually does quite well. So there was a recent history by Tom Holland. I'm forgetting the name of the book, but he was an atheist. I think he's still an atheist, but he just noted that the rise of Christendom in the West marked the time of greatest, not just economic flourishing, but rights of women and children, and happiness of women and disabled groups, underprivileged groups that the world has ever seen. So we cast aspersions at, Christian Sharia law or whatever. But in reality, like historically, whenever Christians have legislated their faith, it's been really good for everybody. Bad things have still happened, just not as much as everywhere else. And so it's it's not a ridiculous point to hold. John says, I'm starting to lean preterist. Yeah, that's one of those terms that I haven't learned yet. And if I understand preterism's view correctly, the answer is we're in it now. So I'm still studying. Yeah, the guy who gets real into this is the Method Ministries guy, Lucas Curcio. I think I've only done one interview with him, and he's having the debates, man. He had a debate, with Keith Foskey that influenced me a little bit. Dominion's the name of the book. Thank you, John Beavers. Yes, I got like 3 chapters in. I was like, this is really good, and then I did something else. I need to go back to it.
What did he pull up?
Report on that one.
Well, the new one that's up is the 1,000-year reign, symbolic or literal. That's the what Practice Squad wanted.
Okay.
The other one was.
Well, did we get those results yet?
That's the one I just posted. The one before that was the millennial. When is the millennial reign? Is it a future event? Are we in it now? It's already happened, or what are you talking about? We got 12 votes. It's a future event. It was 58% of the votes, and then 41 for.
So the majority of our audience is premillennial at this point.
Something like it.
Okay. I was so comfortably premillennial until I listened to Keith Foskey talk about it, and then my clarity went away. Yeah, someone could say that the millennium has just recently ended, and so the final battle is coming up any moment now.
Well, the guys that I listen to a lot, James White, I think he's an amillennialist, and I listen to a lot of I listen to him more than most people, but I just haven't.
You don't care about that particular part of his faith.
Well, that I haven't looked at. I have to study it myself. Like, I'll take what he's got with a grain of salt, but I haven't studied it enough to myself to be saying, oh, that's what I believe. He seems pretty clear on it. And Apology, I listen to a lot of Apologia. They're amillennialists too.
One of the verses that figures into it real big is when Jesus talks about the binding of the strong man. Satan is the strong man whose house we're plundering.
Mm-hmm.
And like now is the time when, the field is ripe for harvest, send out laborers to the harvest. Like these metaphors overlap where like if the strong man wasn't bound, then we couldn't grab anyone for the flock of Christ. But
That's what you
because
do,
the strong man is bound, and that's the millennial reign. Millennial reign, Satan is bound for a time while Christ reigns directly on earth. That seems to correspond kind of neatly with the same concept.
Yeah, that's what you talked about. I do remember you talking about that Sunday.
So the results came in, and none of the candidates cleared the threshold, so they got to have another one. Defined Faith says, yeah, both amillennial and postmillennial are preterist perspectives. They both make pretty compelling cases, though I lean more millennial than postmillennial. I'm glad you're on here, Defined Faith, even if I'm not smart enough to understand everything. Keenan says, many of the notes, I assume he's talking about John Wesley's notes on the New Testament, are preterist. Wesley got his postmillennial through Richard Baxter, who was his mother's pastor, in the book The Puritan Hope. Interesting. So they're preparing the exact same ballot right now. So I haven't done anything on this topic. I have done something on the topic of dispensationalism, which is the notion that God establishes multiple covenants throughout the biblical story, that all of them are maintained. So dispensationalists believe that God has made several different covenants that are still in effect. The alternative view to that is covenant theology, which says each covenant like integrated the previous one, and there's only one covenant. And so I interviewed a gentleman who's a John Wesley expert. He's not Global Methodist. I can think of his face, not his name. But he I'm sure conforms to Wesley's view on amillennialism, but he's also a covenant theologian where he doesn't believe that there are multiple covenants that have been maintained. There's only the one. And so the Jewish people are not a legitimate people with a different covenant. They're just one among many people groups that are expected to follow Jesus now. And it was a good conversation.
My default would be dispensationalist, I guess, but I haven't studied it enough to articulate that.
Jennifer's asking if I finished Kevin Watson's book, Doctrine, Spirit, and Discipline, A History of American Methodism, and the answer is no. But I read some more of it last week, and it was really good. It was...
That's Kevin Watson's new book?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really good. You really need to read it because it makes a lot of sense out of where America is now. Like when you read about early American culture and belief, it's just like, how did we get here? Like the American founding fathers would like violently rebel against this government, you know? And the original Methodists in this country would be so appalled, even with where the Global Methodist Church is. Like we're not holding a candle to them. So there were a number of shifts that took place at the end of the 19th century around Methodism, around wealth, around membership, and there was a third thing that he talked about. I don't even know where my book is right now. I'll find it. But these are changes that have not been undone. So, like, what we're doing right now in the GMC is going back to, like, an early 20th century Methodism. But I'm wanting us to go back to, late 18th century Methodism, which nobody is talking about that except the Croakers, which I talked about yesterday. Anyway, hopefully I'm going to have Kevin on here. I'll write him again about coming next week or something. He's finally talking to me. So we'll set it up. And then I'm going to let y'all know I'm in conversations right now with Seedbed, the publishing agency for Asbury, out of Asbury, about starting to promote some of their material and them arranging for me to have interviews with authors of new pieces and stuff. So hopefully that would be something that establishes kind of a pipeline of good Wesleyan thought on my channel. Doug says, I've honestly not given it much thought as I haven't found an application to know God would have me act differently one way or another, but I try to be open for new learning and better understand. The place where the rubber hits the road is if you're living your life where in a way where like Jesus isn't coming back today, because the way I understand the Bible saying this has got to happen, this got to happen, this got to happen, I've still got some time. If you're getting a sense of I've got time, then I would say that you're reading the Bible wrong, because I think the distinct biblical perspective, which is shared explicitly by Jesus and reinformed by James and Jude and others, is that any day can be the last day before history ends, and we have to live every day like it could be our last day, like we don't have much more time. We need to be a people who continually look east for the return of Christ and cry Maranatha, and that once you come up with like a strict biblical eschatological method that pretty much guarantees that you've got at least a couple more years to get it together, you're reading it wrong. People are always, human nature is to put off till tomorrow what doesn't need to get done today. So if you create a theological framework where it doesn't need to get done today, then
Cesar Gaza is who they elected.
Caesar got it. An African.
They're going to break. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember. How do they do that so fast?
Central African Republic.
Yeah.
How did they do that vote so fast?
Yeah. The previous vote
I
took
guess they got tired of.
They must have done another method.
No, I think it was the same one. They just said here with the vote totals and choose again.
John Beaver says, I'm reading 4 views on the book of Revelation, counterpoints, Bible and theology. God bless you, brother.
I just ordered that.
Really?
Yeah, well, I saw his comment and I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. So I ordered the Kindle version. So thank you for that, John.
It covers different understandings of eschatology, and it's great so far. Does it have diagrams and stuff? I found one at my parents-in-law's house that had like diagrams. It made it easier for me to like conceptualize these different frameworks. Jennifer says, you should try to get Sterling Allen on. He seems interesting and said he's a Charles Wesley expert. Yes, he did say that about himself yesterday. I'll ask him on. I've been told he's not a big fan of my work, but maybe he will condescend to visit with me. He's obviously
a big fan of your videos or your petitions.
I think it's probably one and the same.
Okay.
So, and I could have heard wrong, until he tells me to my face, I could have heard wrong. But I posted, we're friends on Facebook, and after day one, I made a Facebook post on one of his posts just saying, hey, man, doing an awesome job here. Fantastic music. You're doing great. So.
Oh, you guys are friends on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've sent a friend request to everybody in Global Methodist leadership. So if you look through my friends list and I'm not friends with them, it's because they have refused to be friends with me. And there are some notable ones who have refused to be friends with me.
You did that on your personal face. I would have created a whole new...
Really?
Yeah, no, I just can't keep...
Now, if I get on my Facebook right now and I go down my feed, it's all Global Methodist stuff.
Generally, I don't respond to Facebook requests from people that I haven't met in person. There are some exceptions to that, but...
It's 2024, TJ.
I know, but...
People dealing with people in the flesh, that's so,
yeah,
ancient.
Yes.
You're not a part of the new Gnostic social media network?
Gnostic social media
network. The Gnostics believed in a separation between...
Physicalness is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, the physical is bad, the spiritual is good. So, that's our spiritual connection to one another, the spiritual place, Facebook.
The Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of mocking it, but I host a morning Zoom worship at 6 a.m. Every morning, and it's really fantastic. It's really sweet. You get to know these people that are all over the country. If anybody wants to be a part of that, you're interested in hearing about it, you can email me at plainspokenpod@gmail.com. I got a crew of just it's usually 12 to 15 people that are wonderful folks. So if you want to be considered for that, you can apply.
It's a very exclusive group.
It is very exclusive. I've invited you, but he hasn't come. He don't come. Joe came. Joe from yesterday, he's come. He says nice things about it.
Once my work schedule calms down and I'm not stretched in 700 different ways,
Yeah. I've never known a version of TJ that has a work schedule that's calmed down and isn't stretched 100 different ways. But, maybe such a guy
It's
exists.
completely my own fault.
Yes.
And I've added school on top
Yes.
of that, so that's... Okay, so last poll is we got 10 votes for it. Is the 1,000-year reign symbolic or literal?
Okay.
40% say symbolic, and 60 say literal.
Interesting. Man, we got some premillennial literalists on board with us. And then do you have thoughts on if it's symbolic or literal?
My default, without actually looking at it, would be symbolic, because I take most of Revelation as symbolic.
What about the 7-day creation?
I'm not a young Earth. Well, okay, so for that, I guess there's a different.
Let's make
different
that.
subject.
Let's make that the next poll.
Do I think the 7 days were actual 24 hours? No, I tend to lean towards a symbolic interpretation of that.
Okay. So you're symbolic on the front end and back end of the Bible.
Yes, but I'm not
and
going to die
literal in between.
Yeah, I'm not going to die on
You got
that
a
hill.
symbolic sandwich.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, make the next poll. Do you believe in a literal 7-day creation, or is the 7 days symbolic?
Okay. If you
And
haven't
let's
got
see
to vote
if
for the last
the
one, one
60%.
person got in, so we're at 55% literal, but I'm ending that poll. So
Okay.
snooze, you lose. Say that again. What is it? Is the 7 day? Are the 7 days actual 24 hours, or are they a symbolic 24 hours? That was the poll you were wanting.
What's a symbolic 24 hours? Is the 7 days a literal 7-day creation or a symbolic 7-day creation? People will know what you mean by that, don't you think?
So
D says, I used to not friend people that I had not met in person, but I relented and friend people I have been on live Zoom with, but only those who request it personally. Everybody's got their own rules. I had one denominational official for the GMC get back to me and say, I typically only allow friendships with people I know in person, but I've watched a lot of your stuff, so I'm going to let you in. Yeah, I just Facebook in particular, like when you're doing what I'm doing and trying to like get in touch with people, so many people don't have their contact information anywhere on the internet. You have to call 100 places, or you can just find them on Facebook or LinkedIn.
it's
and reach out to them
real
directly.
weird to me. Like, so I understand people not wanting social media, but it's just weird to me. You don't have a Facebook. You don't
Why?
have a Facebook. I don't know. It's just, what are you hiding from? I don't know. It's preference.
Oh, John Beavers is being persnickety and saying technically it was 6 days that he created everything, and he rested on the 7th. Yeah, thanks, John.
Okay, let me think of how to phrase this.
Yeah, I was there. So D is talking about when you're a woman, you can get harassed online. So one of the things that I did in leading up to this general conference was they released a delegate list, and I just spent several hours going through and trying to find each one on Facebook to send them friend requests, because I imagined they would be more responsive. Actually, a lot of them have been responsive. It didn't work out the way I thought. But anyway, I sent friend requests to like everybody. And there wasn't a single man that a request bounced back on. But then there were several women that it bounced back and said, it looks like you don't know this person. And some like code for, we think you're a stalker, leave her alone. And it wasn't that. I guess technically, no, it's not stalking. It's just like I'm trying to make a connection with people who are going to be someplace I'm curious about. So I just realized like a bunch of women online have a very different experience than men online, where they do get a lot of attention that they don't want. I've interviewed some clergy women that are not on Facebook at all, because it just, they're young and they're attractive and they got so much unwanted attention. It was just awful. So they got off.
I only got part of that.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I phrased the question, are the 6 days of creation 24 literal hours or symbolic? And Jennifer, by literal, I mean like 24-hour days, like 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. to 12 a.m., I guess. Yeah, that's 24, because that would be 12. So like actual like 24-hour days as we experience it right now. Does that make sense?
It makes it too complicated.
How's that complicated?
It's too many words. It's so like abundantly obvious what we mean in the question. Like If somebody wants to parse it, then I'm
Okay,
just-
well, I'll just leave the question as it
yeah,
is then.
leave it as it is. Everybody knows
Literal,
the question.
symbolic.
Yes,
But she was wanting to define literal.
I don't know what to do with
Well,
that.
That's what I was doing. Vote. Wow, already 2 votes for symbolic. I did not expect that.
You
I
expected
expected
a bunch
most
of
people to be
literalists?
literal. Yeah.
Well, but that's only 2 votes.
We're at 4 votes now, and 75% are symbolic.
You can only vote on this if you're on YouTube. I'm so sorry. We didn't figure out how to do this on multiple platforms.
Facebook doesn't let us do live. As far as I'm aware, they
live
let us
polls?
do polls,
Yeah,
but as
but
posts,
not live ones.
Yeah.
There's got to be some app that we could use that would integrate easily with all of the platforms. Like, okay, no, that wouldn't work.
It's going to outsource it to some other website is what it's going to end up doing.
It's not going to integrate it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there could be. I could be wrong, but I mean, my first inclination is like, how would that work? You'd
QR
have to put
code. I don't know.
Well, which would still take you to a different website.
Yes. I also, in these, I wanted to be able to show the visuals of what you see, but there's no way to like do that, is there?
Patrick says there should be a third choice. Neither. I explained that. I'm curious as to what your opinions on that are. Like what does that mean?
It's neither literal nor symbolic.
Yeah, but what does that look like? What is it? You don't know, or
I'm saying they don't make sense. Like either my hand is physical, like solid, or liquid. Well, then, yeah, there's a gas. Okay, no, that's a bad.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there really are only 2 choices. So what's the other choice? Hey, Ben's with us. John, they could vote via chat if they don't mind their answers being public, and if TJ doesn't mind inputting their well, can you input their answer? Like if someone was like, "Here's my vote," I'm on. No,
I can go. I can switch to my profile and vote for mine. And I guess technically I could switch to the church's profile and vote for, and that could be another.
Don't do that.
Yeah, but no,
D says, I think it's a literal 7-day creation, 6-day creation, but it doesn't matter. God did it. I believe it, regardless of how time is measured. Yeah. Pat says, prior to creation, the only thing that existed was God, Father, Son, and Spirit. There was no time. I don't know.
So that's yeah. I guess that's why I would go symbolic, because if we're measuring time by the rotation of the Earth around the sun, then that becomes problematic. So that's why I'm saying it's not 24 hours. What are you saying no to?
All that needs to take place for time to exist is space. That's it. God in space, I think.
Well, okay, so he would have to have created space.
Yeah.
And then
That happened on day
we're
one.
still then we're still going from a 24-hour
Sure.
earthly perspective.
Yeah. So in the very narrative, the very first day God created light and it was over. He doesn't create the sun, moon, and stars till day 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So what would a day be if not a 24-hour day? If not what we conceive of a day? Like, here, I'm going to use this word that
Maybe
clearly
he's got
means
a
the same
different
thing
day.
to everybody here, but it doesn't mean that.
I don't know.
They could have said eon. They could have said a period of time.
Well,
a
they
time,
said
2
it
times,
was
and half
yom,
a time.
I believe is the word, the
Yom, yeah.
Hebrew, yeah.
Yeah.
And that could mean multiple things. It doesn't necessarily only mean 24 hours. You think it does?
I mean, in that context, it's told within a chronological framework. So there isn't
Well, sure, yeah. No, time is happening. There is time has been
like
created.
the other way it can be used that's very common in the Bible is like in his day he saw this, like during his lifetime he saw this. Yom, but whenever it's a sequential story, this happened on day 1, this happened on day 2, this happened on day 3. There is no other story where we're like, actually, it was multiple days or years. You know, like a sequential story that is divided by days anywhere else in the Bible is
so
going to be.
does yom mean just a day, or is it mean a period?
Well, it's
of
like
time?
the English word day. Like our day depends on usage. But you can say back in TJ's day, they didn't have
Right, it has
computers
multiple
yet.
meanings. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I'm
How we
saying
use
the
it matters.
context determines how it is that we mean the word day. So if you said, yesterday I ate a sandwich, and I said, well, day can mean different things in English. So maybe he had a sandwich last year.
Okay, so you're saying
and it took him like 5 years to make the sandwich.
You're saying the context
Yes.
is a week.
Yeah.
And within that week, there are 7 24-hour periods.
I guess so. Like,
Because what's that's the context I assume that you're
yeah, the context is like, here's the blueprint for life as we experience it now. Everything is a repetition of this pattern that was originally established, that's been established from the beginning. So we have a 7-day week that's modeled on the 7 days of creation. One of those you rest to model God resting on the 7th. 6 of those you work to model God's working on the 6th. You have all this order being created, the 3 heavenly, earthly, and worldly realms, and then the occupants of those realms. And
I see what you're saying. You haven't changed my mind, but I see what you're saying.
I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to explain. I think I'm actually with you on this one. But I'm just saying, other people who see it this way, what's the reason for objecting to this? God can't do it in 6 days? You saying that the Bible is lying and we need to conform it to a scientific narrative in order for you to accept it?
Yeah, okay. What is my objection to it being literal 24 hours?
God can do it. It says
Sure,
he did
he
it.
can do it.
Accept it. Why argue with it? Daniel says the issue with literal versus symbolic can carry connotations of denying the reality of something. I would affirm that many things are real and symbolic without being woodenly literal.
It's a little too academic for me.
So, well, it's kind of similar to what Dee was saying. It's just like, I really don't know, but I know it's true. So in whatever ways it's true, this is obviously true. Does it have to literally be 24 hours and God got out his clock and he timed it all out perfectly? Don't be ridiculous. But it's true that he created it in whatever corresponds to a day in that meaning. And I don't have to know it to accept it.
It's fair.
John Beaver says, the space-time continuum. Have you seen that? There's I need to... Okay, talk for a second. I'm going to look for a clip because it's a good clip.
We are at 18 votes on the 6 days of creation, 24 literal hours of symbolic. We are at 44% literal and 56% symbolic. I'm going to end the poll there, so if you didn't get your vote in...
Say it all again. I'm sorry. What? How many votes?
We got 18 votes.
Okay, and how many literal?
44% are literal.
Oh, okay.
56% are
See, this is
symbolic.
interesting because in Revelation with the millennial reign, we had 60% literal 1,000 years. But then we only had 40-some% literal 7-day creation.
Hold on, is that right?
I think.
Symbolic was 45, literal 54, yeah. Is what it ended as. Literal.
All right, so did you ever see this clip of Dr. Kent Horvind?
No, I know that does not sound familiar.
Yeah, all right. So can you make it so that my audio comes through and we can play this for everybody?
Does it not normally come through? You're controlling the audio on your side. And okay.
No, you
so,
got it
hold
set
on.
so that the system audio goes through.
Outputs.
Yeah.
Routing.
And then we need to remember to
You're
change
doing
it back.
USB 1 or USB 1 chat?
I think I'm USB 1.
Well, it's just all coming on, so.
Okay. Should it be coming on now?
Should be good now.
All right, so this is an interesting intersection point, Christian apologetics. Where did God come from? This guy talks kind of funny.
I am confused. Being philosophically consistent and being a very honest person, I'm sure you can tell me where God came from.
Where did God come from?
And in addition, once you've told me where God comes from, please try to clarify how you can figure that a spiritual force can have an impact on a material universe to create it. I think that some years ago we already talked about that kind of thing in philosophical circles at any rate by posing the question, if angels are made of spiritual matter and a pen is made of material matter and spiritual matter displaces no space, how many angels can dance on the tip of a pen? I have a sense of sort of reversal experience here, but please do, go ahead.
You got 5 minutes. Now, I just want to know which question.
That's all right, you may take the rest of the minute.
We're supposed to do one question at a time. Which one would you like? That was part of the format for the debate. So which
I
question?
want you to fill in the story of the rest of the beginning of the universe. God, spiritual matter, impact on material matter.
Okay, so 2 questions. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant, because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. So you have time, space, matter, created a trinity of trinities there. Just, time is past, present, future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously, and the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that formed by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think? Okay, so your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God, and that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
And that's the only clip I've ever seen of him, and I just like the way he says the word matter, like a robot. But yeah, like when we're talking about the 7-day creation and the sun, moon, and stars are not even created until day 4, then how is it that we understand a day? But even that doesn't solve it, because okay, after the sun, moon, and stars are created, then does it become a 24-hour period?
Yeah, I guess does it require the sun revolving around the earth for us to know what hours are?
Well, and here it's not even concerned with hours; it's concerned with a day.
Well, and hours, then 24 of those.
And we think of that as being composed of hours, but I mean in my mind, it's just like, okay, it's one thing to say that this roughly corresponds with a day. It's another thing to say, oh, this is a 1,000,000-year period right here, actually, and we're just using the word day because in God's it was quoted by Eileen, for God, a day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day, and that's what it says in 2 Peter. But the question is, okay, is this describing things from God's perspective or from our perspective or from it doesn't say this story is written down from so-and-so's perspective. It just tells you the dang story. So anyway, the whole reason we got into this was because TJ was trying to get into interesting, divisive theological topics that we took polls on. So we took a poll on, if you've read Revelation, you know that it describes a millennial reign of Christ here on earth as 1,000 years. So do we think that's literally 1,000 years or metaphorical? And I was surprised at how many people thought it was literal. So I went to the 7-day creation and asked the same question. So I think we've kind of reached the end of that particular poll topic.
Yeah, Patrick had one earlier I'm going to put up. Should Revelation be read literally, allegorically, or metaphorically?
What would the dividing line between allegorically and metaphorically be? And then yesterday we were talking about the history of biblical interpretation, and there's literal, metaphorical, tropological, and I said anagogical. I don't remember if that's the last one. Four senses of Scripture. It's been a while since I looked at this. This was in late antiquity. It's a 4-level method of interpreting in the Bible. In Christianity, the four senses are literal, allegorical, not metaphorical, tropological, and anagogical. I think that's what I said. In Kabbalah, the four meanings of the biblical text are literal, elusive, allegorical, and mystical. I didn't
Say
realize.
those again. I'm gonna end this poem and do it like that.
Literal. Well, nobody knows tropological and anagogical.
Well, explain them to me.
Tropological is the moral sense in Christian tradition, theory, and practice of interpreting the figurative meaning of the Bible. It is part of the biblical exegesis and one of the four senses of Scripture. So it's just the moral sense.
That's tropological.
And then anagogical is comes from anagogy, a Greek word suggesting a climb or ascent upwards. The anagogical is a method of mystical or spiritual interpretation of statements or events, especially scriptural exegesis, that detects allusions to the afterlife. Certain medieval... Ooh. I lost it. Certain medieval... Oop, don't do that. Oh, I didn't realize y'all could still see my screen. My bad.
What was the fourth one?
Anagogical.
No, was it metaphorical?
Allegorical.
Allegorical.
Yeah. Oh, another word for allegorical is typological. So everything in the Bible is represents a type. Is that what that means? They're back in session, by the way. I hear audio. I think they're just continuing on with the,
Elections.
Got elections now for 5 laity on the General Conference committee. And they added Bill so-and-so earlier, and then that's all I'm aware of changing. Yeah, see, tropological and anagogical always seemed like extensions of the allegorical to me. So,
Well, that's how I phrased the question. The answers were those four. So this one might not be a great one, but come up with other ones, and we'll put some other ones up.
Pat says C.S. Lewis took the relativity issue a step further, saying God is outside of time. And TJ didn't read the whole comment. I said yes to all. Karen says, our Lord is light. He needs no sun in order to exist. On day one, he said, light be. Yehi or is how you say that in Hebrew. Yehi or, let there be light. And there was light, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Yep. And Jesus, Yeshua, our Melchizedek, my Father of righteousness, our King of righteousness, has no beginning or end. He is eternal. Yes. Yeah, that's true. No, I was just trying to get down to the biblical hermeneutic that our audience here has. It was very clear that we had some people that were more comfortable with literalism than most of our GMC leadership. You know, whenever we're talking about a literal 1,000-year reign, I don't think any of our GMC leadership would say, yeah, it's a literal 1,000-year reign. So it was just interesting to me that we had 60% of our audience that would say that. So then, you know, why would that be literal and not a literal 7-day creation? I mean, some people, we know people that, how could you consider that be anything other than a 24-hour?
Right, yeah.
Okay, and another one, people aren't going to do tropological, but another one we might do is...
I think I'm going to end this one.
Does the new covenant cancel out the old covenant?
That's a good one.
And everybody's going to want to say, no, it fulfills it. But it essentially, does that mean that the old covenant's canceled out? Yeah, D, he insisted on doing it. You don't have anything to be sorry about. I studied these things in seminary and still just went like, that's a form of allegory. That's a form of allegory. The ancients were weird in some ways. But it's still worth reading them.
You're wanting to not give an option for fulfill.
Yeah, because like if functionally does it end it or not? Like that's what I want to know. Like
Okay, so
either
you
the
would
Old
say
Testament is still in effect or it's not.
Fulfillment would be yes, it cancels it out, functionally speaking.
No, I mean it doesn't. No, functionally, it misses the point. Like everybody is going to say Jesus says he fulfills it, but functionally, when you say he fulfills it, does that mean you keep doing it, or does that mean you don't have to do it no more?
You lost me.
So many people, everybody reads Jesus saying, I didn't come to cancel out, I come to fulfill. But then a lot of people will say, okay, if that's in the Old Testament, I don't have to obey it because Jesus fulfills what's in the Old Testament, whatever that means. For them, it means I don't have to obey it anymore. That's not a governing document for me anymore. That's not a governing word. Other people read it and go, okay, he fulfills it, so that means it all stands and I need to obey what's in the Old Covenant now. We use the same word fulfill, but we mean different things by it. How does Jesus fulfill it? Does it mean that he cancels it out and I don't have to obey it anymore? Or does it mean that he actually builds on top of it and I need to obey that and new stuff? Doug France says, I like hot dogs. Does that answer the question? We'll ask that one about the law, and then we'll try and have a conversation that's a little bit more interesting.
Are you wanting my contacts are bothering me? Are you wanting the question to be, does the new covenant cancel out the old covenant?
Yeah.
And then yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it's going to be. That's what it is.
Karen, I thought it was mercy is better than sacrifice. And that's from Micah? Yeah, that's from the prophet Micah that he quotes. But that's not... So the way that Hebrew thought juxtaposes two things against each other, it's not always saying it's one or the other. It's saying one is more important than the other. So when Jesus says, you cannot follow me and love father, mother, or sister, or brother, you have to hate them. He's not saying you actually have to hate your family relations. He's saying that God is more important than your family relations. So you juxtapose two things that can actually fit together. God demands both mercy and sacrifice, obviously, at different places in the Bible. The question is, does what Jesus did cancel out, mitigate, end the old, or does it still require the old, but done in a way that fulfills it? Pat says Lewis's premise was that from God's perspective, creation, the fall, the resurrection, and final judgment are all now. In a sense, that's got to be true. The way that the rubber hits the road on all this, Pat, is what I said before, is how do we conduct ourselves here and now on a daily basis? Are we taking for granted that we have more time, or are we understanding that the time is fulfilled and the kingdom has come near, so repent and believe in the gospel today, you know? Oh, you were quoting a different scripture. 1 Samuel 15:22. Thank you. Bible Gateway. Is it .com? Yeah.
Oh, what are they voting on now?
It's the same thing. It's the same concept. Like, it's not that God doesn't delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices. It's saying that obedience is enjoyed by God more. To obey is better than to sacrifice. Yeah, well, and that's what you said. Yeah, that's what you quoted.
Okay, they're still voting on the General Conference Commission.
Yeah.
And they're on the laity now. So, okay, I thought they were past that, but I guess they're still on it.
Have they even elected any of them yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. This takes so long. You know, I was talking about it the other day. Andrew Yang started his own political party, and their only issue really was ranked choice voting. where like here you're having to do
And
multiple
universal
ballots.
basic income.
Huh?
It said and universal basic income.
I think he dropped that. That's when he was running on his own. He was all about UBI. But when he started his own political party,
Oh,
I think
what's
the whole
his-
political party was just, we need to redo.
He started a political party.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Okay.
did. What are they called? I don't remember.
Are they still a thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I know they didn't like do well. They talked. He talked a good game, and it made sense. But like, there are certain ways of voting that don't require ballot after ballot after ballot. Like you can have ranked choice.
Sure,
like
yeah.
this is my
There are
first
certain
choice,
states that
second,
do
third.
ranked choice. I don't know if you're gonna ask me which one. I don't know.
I think Alaska does.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, so like when you occupy an extreme position, it's terrible. Like if you are on the extreme left or extreme right, you're not going to get your candidate ever. But it benefits central candidates where people will vote for their own extreme position and be like, well, I hate the opposite, so I will choose the less bad option. So none of the choice ones get selected, but choice 2, 3, 4, depending on how many out. You get the people who are in the middle on any given thing, which in politics, I'm not sure that's good. But in church, it might be good. Jennifer says, I missed the last half hour. What did I miss? The answer is nothing.
They
Nothing.
took a break and they are back on voting for the General Conference Commission. So they finally got the clergy elected. They are now voting on the laity.
Did you change it so that my computer audio isn't coming through again?
I did, yes.
Thank you. Hate to do that to you guys. I'm sorry. But for those who are just joining today, the denominational leadership did make clear that we were not to restream anything from them, that they're exercising copyright protections. So we're not gonna push them on
preferably
that.
we would be able to just stick their video on top of or underneath ours and we can comment over it so they don't have to watch two different screens. But,
Yeah. That's what we did for, that's what I did for the United Methodist Annual Conference.
And they hit you with
General
copyright.
Conference. On the second to last day, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were able to get out from under those. And they didn't
It
push
took a
but-
while, yeah.
Yeah.
I was reflecting on that today. Their lawyer was really nice, but also very firm.
Yeah. But they ended up dropping it. And this time you got out ahead of it and said, hey, can I do this same thing with you guys? And the GMC specifically said no.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe things will be different in the future. A lot of people have enjoyed watching this. I wonder how many people would have watched it if I had been able to do it. How many people are on the live stream for the GMC right now?
239.
239
Yeah,
people.
it's usually hovered around 300.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a whole lot less than the UMC did.
It was.
But
yes.
the UMC was a really controversial one. So of course everybody was.
It was really controversial, and they are significantly bigger.
True, but I mean, there's like I want to say there's 300,000 people in the GMC Facebook group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that I don't understand that group. Yeah, I wonder how big our viewership would have been if we could have integrated it. It could have been similarly
Probably
low.
10 times. Well, depending if anybody's. I don't know if they're just not wanting to watch the
Election.
their specific live stream. I don't feel like they've gotten over 300 or over 400. I'll say they haven't gotten over 400 the entire time. So I mean,
Oh, they elected somebody? I hear people clapping.
I feel like they did get all of them. Now they're moving on the Global Episcopacy Committee, which
They got all of them in one go. Really?
Yeah.
Jennifer Groff does note that I have more subscribers than the entire denomination. The only reason why that is they haven't put out much content.
So Global Episcopacy Committee, that's on page 17 of the Daily Journal from September 22nd. So they got 6 clergy they've got to vote for, and then 6 laity. They're taking off the names of people that have been voted for other things. Did you answer Elaine's question as why they were being so twitchy about it?
I did not.
We're not 100% sure. Maybe they didn't want criticism.
They didn't give a reason, and
Yeah, no, they didn't
Writing.
say. They just said we're not. It's copyrighted.
somebody's ring alert went off.
Somebody's what?
Ring. That's
Oh, did you hear the sound?
Yeah, their sound system picked it up. They removed David Watson and Jeff Greenway. Was there a third person?
If there was, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. I like the redaction option on here. Ugh.
Lisa, this is the vote for the clergy on the Global Episcopacy Committee. They need 6 clergy. They're just taking the names off of the list for the people who've already been voted for something else.
Jennifer, are you saying their subscriber count hasn't gone up even though they've had a lot of people on the channel? He's given kind of a dramatic speech.
Was his issue that it's not diverse enough?
I think it was, we don't have any idea who these people are outside of the U.S.
Well, that's also true.
Yeah.
Which,
Just
I mean,
like
how many of these people in the U.S. do you know?
well, so they've all been together for a while and they've mixed in all kinds of stuff. So if they're there in person, then they might know most of them. Well, and especially the clergy. I don't know. So I'm going to go look at the calendar for a minute. We're on the last day. I can't believe they're taking forever voting on the last day. They have so much they still need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so this is supposed to take up until lunch, which you're getting close to. I don't know how many
lunch
they've
is in
got
an
left.
hour.
Yeah.
And then consecration prayer.
That's right.
Actually, that's right at the lunch hour. That's just in the prayer room. So they'll take an hour for lunch, and then they'll have an afternoon session if needed. Yeah, they're going to need it.
Oh, yeah, because they've still got 9 petitions that they've got to vote on, plus whatever else there is. I mean, that's if they rubber stamp them, that's 9, which there's probably going to be some that are controversial.
Well, here's what I say. I say we go ahead and quit this stream, just give up on the morning session being interesting, and then come back for the afternoon session as they try and cram everything else in, and then get mad at people who belabor stuff. You cool with that? Everybody online, are y'all cool with that? Like, I feel like we've already talked about, I mean, it's actually kind of amazing that TJ and I didn't get in a fight about any of this stuff, so I don't really want to tempt fate and talk about more controversial stuff. Not that we would fight. We talk about all kinds of stuff and don't fight. But, yeah, I'm inclined to draw this one to a close and just let them vote and try. If y'all have additional stuff that you want to propose we put out in the polls, then email it to me. I'll consult my email before we get started, and good poll questions. Keep it interesting. Dee says the GMC probably think they did it to not show favoritism. Oh, she's talking about why they denied me. But I'm sure there was some concern for plain spoken, this group speaking a little bit more plainly than they might like, and they would be correct. We do speak pretty plainly. Yeah, I know for a fact a lot of the leadership just doesn't like a form of speech that is that free. So they would rather be a little more guarded than that, and they know that I'm not committed to the same project. All right, anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
No, I think I think the rest of this is going to be fairly boring. Like, we don't know who these people are. I mean, we've got an idea who some of them are, but once they finish this, if they get this finished, the afternoon session will be a little more engaging.
Okay. Well, I put my kids down at 2, which means the earliest we'll get started back is 2:30 Central Time. If something happens before then that is interesting, you might text me or TJ. Some of y'all have our numbers. And then we'll maybe start back up, but I doubt it. So, all right.
You doubt it?
I mean, before 2:30.
Gotcha.
Like
okay.
if something dramatic happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. It's been fun spending time with you. We'll be seeing you again in a bit if you want to.